Hello, our friends. This is Scott Ott with Bill Whittle and Stephen Green, and this is your Backstage episode of Right Angle. Oh, I didn't join in the toast. Here we go. Clink.
Oh, there we go.
Clink. Okay, so this
good tap
has
water.
been quite the week, and I am actually kind of excited because Bill has the members-only episode this week, and he has the pick of the litter. And so, Bill, why don't you go right to it and take the topics that we were really hoping to have?
Okay. I'm thinking about doing something about Justice Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh. Is that with a C or
So
a K?
Did the Senate approve him?
No, I saw a picture of Justice Kavanaugh the other day being sworn in as justice to the Supreme Court, and it made me think, wow.
Where he'll be a justice?
Justice Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court, that's really quite an interesting... It was an interesting month for Justice Kavanaugh, let's put it that way.
What is his title, what that you're saying now?
It's Justice, actually.
Justice, okay.
Justice Kavanaugh.
You know, Bill, I like my Justice Kavanaugh with a side of liberal tears.
Well, you're going to get a bunch of those.
When I walked into the house tonight, by the way, Bill, my wife and my father-in-law were watching the dramatic reenact. It was kind of like Iwo Jima, you know, like they did the official, the actual act was done Saturday, I believe, and then they reenacted it in the White House today. And I walked in just in time to see Associate Justice Kavanaugh, technically, making his polite remarks. And I suddenly realized, you know how everybody said how mad he was, like the other day when he was defending himself?
Barking mad, yeah, just because he got accused of multiple rape.
Yeah, well, see, it's not just that. I think the guy has resting mad face. I mean, he just like...
Well, there's no question he has resting mad face. He does. He looks kind of PO'd.
He's got a line right here at the bridge of his
judge.
nose that makes him look like his brow is continually furrowed in sternness.
Well, whether he had it or not before the confirmation hearings, he's got it now, and it's not likely to leave. Here's what I'd like to talk about, though. I'd like to talk about kind of gaming out whether you think the left is going to go further or whether they're going to learn their lesson. I'm going with A 100%. But it's always fun to speculate about these things. And basically the theme I want to take on the main show is that here's the thing about winning. Winning means more winning. And the more winning we do, the easier it is to win next time. Because the more winning we do, the crazier they get. The crazier they get, the more people abandon them. And in an ideal world, instead of having the country in wreckage all around us, we get back to some kind of common sense principles, and there's a 30% of the country living in this toxic, pool, and we'll let the EPA decide what to do with them. So what do they do going forward? They're mad as hornets, and
Just keep poking at it with a broomstick at the
I kind of
nest.
think so. Yeah, I kind of think so. And I think that's what I want to do about the main one is basically a what now, and I haven't had enough winning yet.
And I think that they don't realize yet. I think they still think they won. You know, it was kind of like after Hillary lost where they thought it was illegitimate. And so they're still in this sort of delusional world where they think that that America is outraged that that their representatives in the Senate actually confirmed their elected president's choice for the Supreme Court.
You know,
Well,
Scott,
the American public is outraged. All right, I think I'll give them that part.
I made a joke on Instapundit today that the only hot take I didn't see from the left over the weekend was that somehow Merrick Garland deserved 2 seats on the Supreme Court, having been robbed twice now.
Very nice.
So anyway, yeah. So I think I'll look at what these people plan to do next and what they're likely to do next is interesting and give us some idea of how to respond to it, and And I also want to talk about the flip side of the coin too, which is everybody I know is walking around with this kind of dazed look on their expression, kind of like, we just won our first football game. We're like 0-29. We haven't won a football game in 11 years.
Charlie Brown kicked the football.
Yeah, and it's like yeah, it kind of feels good, And of course the Democrats are saying, well, the reason that they won is because they fight dirty and we don't. And therein lies the limits of anybody's ironical comment there.
Yes, yes. Brett Kavanaugh, the alcoholic secret gang rape leader, his supporters are the ones fighting unfairly.
That's right.
It reminds me of years ago, and maybe you'll correct me on this is the wrong team, but it seems to me that Northwestern University had a streak where their football team didn't win a game for like 6 years or something like that.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, it was Northwestern.
And what that must have felt like when they finally, actually had a victory. Like, did they even know how to respond,
Well, we were 0-10 in my first year in Little League Baseball, and my first year at the Florida Gators, we were 0-10-1, and we didn't win a game until, I don't know, second year, we probably ended up winning 4 games that season. But yeah, it's like, holy crap, we won one. But yeah, and now let's keep winning them.
Yeah.
Because, that's the thing about Stalingrad is not only do you stop them, you take away the sense of inevitability, like it's just a matter of time. We can slow them down, we can, but the idea of reversing them and pushing them back is actually on my mind now.
And if we keep the house, that'll be like the Battle of Kursk, which just cut the offensive heart out of the Nazi army.
That's it.
Can't you guys make any non-military analogies? Like
No.
that'd be like at the quilting bee, when Edna bought the scarlet yarn or something. I mean, there's got to be some other non-military analogy. So yeah,
All right,
but there is
about
this
6 months
when
after
Edna-
Stalingrad.
When Edna unpacked the 9 that she always carries and popped a few caps on the rest of those.
She busted a cap on Beatrice.
That's exactly busted a cap.
Bust a cap and you'll be.
So
Yeah, that's right. I hate it when people bust a cap on Beatrice during a quilting session.
there is a mental component, though, Bill. I think this is a great point you bring up because when you are unaccustomed to success, and you tend to, like, a failure begets failure and success begets success. And there's almost a certain extent to which winning generates winning in an almost mystical manner. It's
Absolutely
like
right.
when you start to succeed at something, then all of a sudden people go, well, that guy's charmed. Everything he touches turns to gold. And really nothing's different than it was before. It's just that the world of possibilities is suddenly opened up to you. And it's like, oh, wow, I can sink one from the 3-point line. I did not
That's
know
what
I
a
could
hot
do
hand.
that.
Yeah, hot hand streak is that. Is the belief you can't miss means that you are so relaxed that you can't miss. And anybody who's ever watched a football game knows what it's like to see a team up by 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and then have them rally and then get 1 and then get 2, then they get scared, then they get 3, then they get 4 and they tie it and they just completely choke. It's like they switched uniforms. So so we'll see.
Okay, so that's for your that's your regular episode. What are we doing for the members? Something reserved only unto them.
Only unto the members. I think I want to talk about this Singapore reference I've been using because I want to talk about the new website and how
Great.
I think this little kerfluffle really indicates to most Americans that that these guys are not coming at us with rifles and they're not coming at us with they're not even coming at us with edicts. They're coming at us with the destruction of your life, and with the immediate threat of violence. You don't say anything in this town about being a Trump supporter because one of these lunatics will get up and either scratch, key your car or throw boiling hot coffee in your face or something like that. It's the tactics of intimidation, and that's been working. So I just want to talk about how I feel like the guns have been pointing in the wrong direction. We're preparing ourselves for an attack that's not coming. When the attack is coming from the pop culture, and that's what we're good at. So we got a new website coming, and we're going to do a new membership push, and we've got this show out there now, and just some of the changes that have happened, that kind of thing.
And I think that there's
play well into my topic this week too.
How you ratchet up enthusiasm without going over the edge, and I think that's what's happened. Like on the radical left, they've gotten to the point where there is no act, no matter how reprehensible, despicable, dangerous, or threatening, that is beyond the pale at this point. Because
that's right.
Because they believe that they are truly fighting an existential threat with people like Donald Trump or Mitch McConnell or, what the Republicans in Congress.
Mitch McConnell is your existential threat.
Oh,
You've made some poor choices.
Well, see, and we would laugh
on
on that end of things, but actually they think that Judge Kavanaugh is the hardest right judge who's ever been nominated to the court. Whatever. They've persuaded
He certainly
themselves
wasn't
to this.
before they got a hold of him.
Yeah.
Yes. My friend Matt made that exact point over lunch yesterday. We get together on Sundays, and I wanted to talk about that on your regular segment, because I think it's a great missed opportunity by the Democrats, and let's let them keep having those.
Yes, I agree. So those are my two.
Okay. Stephen Green, your topic, hello, my name is Stephen Green. Your topic for
this plays really well into Bill's. I want to talk about lefty mob rule at the street level and at the big level. I don't know if you saw this story, but is it Antifa or Antifa?
I always go with Antifa.
Antifa? That's my inclination too.
It's not Antifa?
Not even auto-da-fe.
It'd be great if they knew what the word "fe" means.
It's auto-da-fe.
I don't know if you guys saw any of this video over the weekend, but Antifa in Portland was attempting to direct traffic. I'm not kidding you. It's hysterical on the face of it, and I've already sent a couple of clips of this stuff to Bill's editor to put this into the show. But Antifa thugs dressed in black, literally trying to direct traffic and then harassing and threatening people who didn't follow their fake traffic laws.
Really?
Why I don't understand.
Oh, wow.
Why were they trying to direct traffic? What is this?
Well, I don't know what gets into their pointy little heads, Scott.
We need to get that clip, and we need to speed it up about 10 times speed, and then get the Benny Hill music and play that underneath.
Yeah,
it.
Yakety
Sax.
I can't believe we all know the name of this song. And then I want to talk about the higher level mob rule, which, we spent the last 2 years hearing how the Electoral College is this evil old white male institution. And now that the Senate has failed to stop Kavanaugh's appointment to the Supreme Court, there were calls going out all over Twitter and Vox and whatnot. Vox, by the way, is a very nice young adult infotainment site. That the Senate itself is a bad institution because 7 Western states,
I saw this.
Yes, have fewer people than Los Angeles County, and
that's right.
Yeah, therefore the
It's
Senate
outrageous.
is undemocratic. Yeah.
It's outrageous that the state of Montana has as many votes as the state of New York.
Yeah,
they should have more votes because there's more people in New York. Oh, for the love of God, honestly. Do we really? Yes, we really do have to do this, don't we?
Yeah,
we really do.
And it wasn't just that one guy, although that one was the one that got the most social media play, but it was all over, almost as though there was some sort of journo list, if you will, coordinating these things. And what they really are after is any institution that they can't seize, they will destroy, because it really is about mob rule, whether it's at the very highest levels or at the very street level.
I remember that. Go ahead, Scotty.
I was just going to say, it's now, you're right, it's suddenly the Senate is illegitimate, the presidency is illegitimate, and now the Supreme Court is illegitimate. I mean, I've seen all attacks from the left on all 3 of these institutions and how they need to be radically restructured and changed because we no longer control them. Now, once the pendulum swings the other way and the Democrats again have a majority of leftists on the Supreme Court, something tells me that the court will once again be elevated in their hearts and minds.
Weird how that happens.
We need a general secretary of the party and a couple of commissars, and everything will be just dandy.
Actually, I just blew my whole close for that segment. That's okay. I'll do it again better when we tape the segment itself. But there was another street level thing that I've got to show you guys. It was, Scott, it was down your way at University of Texas, where protesters, if you want to call them that, just walked up to this very polite set of students that had set up a pro-Kavanaugh table with some signs, out on the quad. And these student thugs just come up and start ripping up their signs.
Wow.
And they're in trouble.
Yeah, I hope.
And that person who kicked that woman is in big trouble.
Oh, yeah, he is. Bring that up, please, Bill, because I didn't think about that one when I was putting these clips together.
Yep. I just wanted to say, this first time I remember this was when Paul Walker won, and he started fighting the unions in Wisconsin, and they took over the state house, and everybody's wearing the same red shirt. Scott Walker, sorry. Who did I say?
Paul. I think he's an actor.
Paul. He is an actor. Scott Walker, and you know, they're shouting it, you know, just stomping, shouting. This is what democracy sounds like. No, this is precisely what democracy doesn't sound like. Democracy sounds like quiet people in there having a discussion about what to do based on who was elected by whom. This is mob rule, and obviously they know it.
Well, and you know, to James Madison, that is what democracy sounded like. That's why that's why we have a republic.
Yeah,
Republican
that's exactly
democracy
right.
is a different and much more pleasant beast.
Yep,
generally
exactly.
speaking.
No, that's exactly right. Excuse me. Oh, sorry.
Oh my goodness.
It's been a long day for all of us, I think.
Yes, we are unusually, for you insiders, we can divulge this, but we are unusually recording it at an evening session.
As you can tell.
That's right. That's right. And I'm, of course, drinking the same water I drink all the time. So let me just cut to the chase with me. I have a story that kind of surprised me at first, and then it made a lot of sense. Y'all remember astronaut Scott Kelly? He has flown.
Yes, this is disgusting.
He's flown a number of missions, and he sent out a tweet. And admittedly, I think that this tweet was aimed at President Trump, the original tweet. But here's the original tweet from astronaut Scott Kelly, flown multiple missions. One of the greatest leaders of modern times, Sir Winston Churchill, said, "In victory, magnanimity. I guess those days are over." Now, it's not even clear to me in this story from the Washington Examiner to what he was referring. I assume he was referring to President Trump, okay, in the wake of the Kavanaugh appointment. So anyway, after getting barraged by complaints, Scott Kelly tweeted this: "Did not mean to offend by quoting Churchill. My apologies. I will go and educate myself further on his atrocities, racist views, which I do not support. My point was that we need to come together as one nation. We're all Americans. That should transcend partisan politics." Yeah, like that was his point. But anyway, so this raises an interesting concept. First of all, do we need to apologize for everything about everybody in the past? And in particular, I know, Bill, you're a huge Churchill fan. This just bugged me that you can't make a benign statement, even in criticism of the President of the United States, without I'm assuming, the left cracking down on their own guy. You know, it was Democrats attacking a Democrat who was criticizing a Republican president because he mentioned a prime minister of England and suggested that he was a great leader.
The whole thing is disgraceful, but the part that's the most disgraceful is I will now voluntarily turn myself into re-education camps so that I can correct my anti-party views.
We need more woke astronauts, don't we?
I fully confess to my crimes against the party and beg the party's forgiveness, and I will do my absolute utmost to make sure that I speak nothing but double plus good thoughts from this point forward. And you know, coming from anybody, it'd be repulsive. Coming from an astronaut is an indication of why NASA's not leading us into space.
Yeah. I'm guessing
why we're not flying space shuttles and we're not flying any missions. Astronauts are not going into space via NASA because NASA is now a standing army of people like this.
Bill, I'm guessing you're going to pull his steely-eyed missile man card.
I'm going to see if he ever had one in the first place. You know, I mean, I don't know if he was a mission commander or not. He may have just been a bus rider.
Now, I know he was on. I would suspect he was a commander, or because he was pretty prominent. He flew several missions. That's not really relevant to what I'm thinking about this. I
understand.
But I just think, you know, the left. I think we should just stand back and go, have at it, boys.
Have at it.
Yeah. Blue on blue violence is hot.
What you really need, Scott, I think, is some kind of video of you whipping yourself with like a bamboo cane. You know, just walking down the street, just whipping yourself and saying, "I will not be a racist." I will not be a racist.
It's the thank you, sir. May I have another school of public apology?
Does the Twitter app have a hair shirt icon that you can put up there?
Well, this is why you should never apologize for anything that's true. I'm not saying you should never apologize, but you should never apologize for speaking the truth. Because if half the people hate you for speaking the truth, then the other half of the people will hate you for recanting. You know, I mean, really. So, you know, I don't know, man. I just got this feeling that this whole thing is almost over. When I say almost over, I mean 20, 30 years from now. I feel like their moment has come and gone. I really do. I feel like this kind of thing is like people have had enough of this.
But it's going to be over like
myself.
It's going to be over like passenger train transportation. You know, it's like people still travel in passenger trains, but it's nobody's first choice, you know.
A friend of mine texted me after the Kavanaugh vote, right after the Kavanaugh vote. I said, hey, wow, it feels good to win. And he texted back, he says, yeah, but I'm concerned that they may have done so much scorched earth damage that, you know, that we may not recover from it. And I said, well, okay, then we'll grow our crops on nuclear-powered space stations.
I love it. Fusion-powered, Bill. Come on, think bigger.
Whatever.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are off to construct that nuclear-powered space station in flight. As we go, we'll be recording these episodes of this week's Right Angle programs. We hope you're enjoying this. We know we hear a lot of positive comments from you, and we really appreciate that. I saw another comment today, by the way, Bill. I had mentioned on a recent episode of Bill Whittle Now, which is, by the way, more content for you, our friendly neighborhood members, to distribute around the world as is your want. But I saw another comment of somebody who said that they joined BillWhittle.now not so that they can get the secret content that's behind the paywall, but so that they can distribute that around the world. So they get a kick out of being part of that citizen producer team. And there were several comments like that on our most recent YouTube video.
We're pretty much the worst deal in the industry. If you're looking for like a dollar reward for your dollar that is measurable in terms of access or swag or something, but the entire point of my Singapore argument is that, you know, we got to be fighting the right direction, and we know how to fight that right direction. It'd be fun. I want to talk a little bit about some ways you could have easily defeated this trouble on the left. So we'll have some fun with that.
Well, I'm convinced that if we gave every new member as a premium for joining, if we gave them a toaster, that they would give the toaster to somebody else. I think
that's our people, man.
That's our folks.
That's our people.
You are one of those folks, and we appreciate that. Looking forward to this week's episodes of Right Angle for Stephen Green and Bill Whittle. I'm Scott Ott. Thanks to the members at BillWhittle.com for making it all possible.